quit yakking. It's time to start the show again.
Sorry.
Anyway, folks, you're listening to Santa Cruz hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. This is the radio digest version of Santa Cruz Gazette and Free Classifieds for all you need to know to be in there. And it's that time of the show right now.
Wow.
We got to go fast because we're running out of time already.
The best time of the show.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Perry Smith, the news director at KHTS for the Week in Review.
The top 5 stories.
Yeah, unfortunately, some more dead bodies than we normally like to see in our top 5 newscasts.
Yeah.
This has been a sad,
I leave for
sad
a week
news
and all,
for the
everybody
Santa
just
Clarita Valley.
dies.
There was a dead body found last night right behind the station. There was a local man tipped me off to the location, and we had gotten a call. It was
Sug Dutton?
yeah, well, we'll just call him Sug.
Sug.
But yeah, it was a really sad story because the family reportedly found the body hanging from a tree, and we got the identification.
The family discovered the body themselves.
Yeah, it was the dad
is,
was there right afterwards. He was pretty shook up. We didn't really just talk to him because he was dealing with so much. But yeah, it was a really sad case. It was a 24-year-old man who they believe killed himself. We hadn't heard the final report yet, but that's probably what happened there. And there was a death this morning, kind of a breaking news situation. A young high school girl. We think she was a teenager. We know that because we were on the scene right after it happened. And she was struck by a Union Pacific freight train this morning.
No indication as to motive.
We don't know if it was an accident or if she was trying to kill herself. It's really early, and homicide's not even on this.
That was at Ruther and Soledad?
Right, and there was some traffic back up on Soledad by Rainbow Glen
Actually,
area.
It's Rainbow
I think.
Glen and Soledad.
Okay.
Yeah, it was between Rainbow Glen and Triangle. There was some side of, and we had a big story that got a lot of looks was the missing kids in Castaic. Those 2 kids ran off, to be together.
14, 15-year-olds old.
Right, and we put up some stories, and what I've heard through the dad is that the pressure from all the social media shares, the calls the girl got from her friends, and kind of pressure her to come back home. So that was that was a happy ending. She was safe and sound. We're not sure what happened with the guy yet, but we haven't. She was with it was a 14-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy, and we're still kind of covering that situation to find out what happens. Buck McKeon in the real estate market again. He put us home up for the market. We hit the listing service the day after.
All right. Well, why is that actually news at this point in time? I mean,
my feeling in reporting that and feeling that it was newsworthy was because residency was an issue in the campaign. It was an issue with the guy that he's endorsed, and he waited until the morning after the election for the House to hit the listing service. That we know.
When he's officially out, the end of.
Well, and he's not going to leave the Santa Clarita. You know what it's like. You put your home on the market. Yeah. It's not like it sells tomorrow.
Yeah, but he's a former House committee
22
chair.
years in Congress. Right.
Okay, committee chair.
Right.
Okay.
Of the Armed Services
Committee.
Probably the biggest.
So he's going to a military consulting firm. He's probably got a job already lined up. I think I saw he's moving to Utah.
Most likely.
So it's like, okay, so somebody retires, somebody changes jobs and puts their house on the market. Okay.
All right. Oh, I mean, and I guess residency wasn't an issue for John, and he voted for Tony. That's good for him. He has every right to do that. The sanctity of the polling place will remain on this show. I'm just pointing out. I felt like because residency was a discussion, and it was certainly was an issue for a lot of voters. A lot of people said that, and the fact that Steve Knight did have that local network of support, and was a guy that lived in the district,
which was my leading question as to why you did that, so you could bring that out.
I think you just like to agitate me. I think you just like to agitate me.
I'm going to take a billboard out.
Lawyer. Put me on I'm not on trial here.
I'm going to take a billboard out against Perry Smith.
I did nothing wrong.
There's plenty of them around.
I did nothing wrong. Al?
There's plenty of billboards available, I understand.
Prop 47?
Yeah.
Yes. You're not going to goad me into a billboard discussion, my friend. It's over. Measure S failed.
We can't talk billboards
the no on S people won. All right.
So we're just going to sit around and look at each other for the next 20 minutes? We don't have anything else to program.
On. Let's get a homeless shelter full time, year round. Lead the campaign, John. That's what I want to see.
That'd be the next one.
Prop 47. We did a big story about that. Voters looking at the issues there, and basically turned all drug possession charges and theft-related charges, which law enforcement officials will tell you kind of goes hand in hand with some of the drug use stuff, were turned into misdemeanors.
Right.
Essentially overnight. At midnight that night, with the passage of the vote.
And that's blanket across the board?
Right. Statewide.
Statewide.
Isn't there a degree of the drug use or the theft, or is it?
Right. The amount, any possession now, simple possession is now considered
It's not-
a misdemeanor
simple
as opposed to.
possession.
So if you have, I would imagine if you have baggies, a scale, and vials, or
That's-
something in your car.
I think that's different. That's possession with
That's
intent
possession
to
with
distribute.
intent to distribute,
I
and
think
that could
there's-
still be right,
yeah.
like you're saying. But yeah, a lot of the people were upset about that. After I posted the story, the reaction that we got made it seem as though not everybody was realizing, the full ramifications of the bill, whether or not you support that. And we had, in the story, we had the arguments for, not decriminalization, but lessening the jail time.
Wasn't it? That was supported by people that you would. I mean, if it was, I guess if it was such a negative thing, it was supported by law enforcement.
No, it was
It
not.
was not?
No,
Okay,
no, they
so I
were
thought it
very much
was.
against this, and that was one of the things that law enforcement were telling me. And nobody really wants to go on the record with this because it's a law now, and they
Right.
have to deal with it regardless of whether or not they like it. So they're not really wanting to stick their neck out and say the law is wrong. They live with it, They'll work around it. But the issue is that there was a lot of money. I've been told that George Soros,
Right.
billionaire media person, was the funding person, and the opposition just did not do a good enough job of getting the message out there, and so that was their problem.
Yeah,
is
see,
that
I
they
thought
just
it was.
didn't.
I thought it was endorsed by.
But no,
That's right.
strong. I mean, even the DA came out and kind of criticized. And they never do that. So
Yeah. That's unusual.
it was,
See, now we've got a couple seconds left.
You
So
got
we
try-
pass
you got
out
all your
Perry.
news stories?
Perry, how
Ready.
you doing? Everything
Yeah.
good? What
See,
else
if I
is
run it
going on?
all out, then you can't pick on me, John.
No, it was not as exciting as we thought. Well, thank you, Perry, for coming in.
Hey.
Perry Smith, the news director of KHTS.
For the weekend review.
That's all
Thank
the
you.
news fit to
Review.
report.
All the news fit to print.
Yep.
Or report, because
Or-
nobody prints
or
anything
talk.
anymore except Doug. All right, you listen to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS. Hopefully, at least one of us will be right back. I'm not sure about me.
Welcome back, everybody. Quit looking at me. Santa Cruz hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. And here we are with one of my favorite people in Santa Clarita, Miss Connie Green.
Oh, I thought you were going to say me.
Not you. And I don't even know how to introduce you, Connie. You have so much going on. And, we we have Mr. Sports, we have a Mr. Music, and what can we call you? Miss Entrepreneur?
How about Miss Success?
There you go.
Success. There you go. All right.
Better than miscellaneous.
Miss. Yeah, there you go. That's not bad either. All right, so Connie, marketing guru, does that work?
That works.
All right, marketing guru. Now you wrote an article in the Gazette. I was reading it the other day. Books, blogs, and podcasts. All right. Well,
Yes.
so let's start with podcasts. Now everybody knows what a podcast is. Doug, do you know what Doug, being in the 1980s, do you know what a podcast is, Doug?
No.
Connie, can you explain it to Doug, because he's old.
Well, a podcast, basically, it's an audio recording, so like what we're doing right now, that is then syndicated. So we use something called RSS, really simple syndication. And if you send it over to iTunes, for example, then it's available as a recording, and we call that a podcast.
Okay. Now, my question is, it's just a marketing tool, is that right?
It is. It's
Okay.
definitely a marketing tool, and it's podcasting as opposed to broadcasting.
Right.
So we're doing it more specifically to a targeted audience. But it is a way to market yourself.
And the way to look at a blog, Doug, because you were asking me this, what is a blog?
I know what a blog is.
You know what a blog is? Do you blog, Doug? You don't know what a blog
I
is?
rant.
You rant. But a
Is
blog,
that the same thing?
no, a blog is just a written podcast.
Right.
Fair enough?
You agree with that, Connie?
I would agree with that completely.
I'm two for two.
You can either speak it or write it, but it's the same information. And my podcasts are both connected to my blogs.
There you go.
Interesting.
So you can cross market and go back and forth and back and forth. My question is, all these great marketing tools, okay, and you're probably very successful in marketing and very successful in building all this stuff up. Does it matter what the product is anymore?
Does it matter? Say that again?
Does it matter what the product is anymore? It doesn't matter
Well-
what you sell. It's more how you sell it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it really doesn't matter. It matters to me because I only want to recommend something that is exceptional, but the truth is it does not matter. We can recommend anything.
That's kind of disturbing to me.
Get over
Doug's still making faces. Go ahead, Doug.
Connie, what the folks that are listening right now, tell them what you do and your advice, because I know what you wrapped up your column by saying something about you can do it too, you can be successful. Tell us
Yeah.
what you would recommend to folks if they're trying to make a change in their life and get started in a different way to make some money.
Well, I would just tell my story briefly. I worked 20 years as a classroom teacher down in the San Fernando Valley. And also I did real estate in my spare time, which is kind of funny because you don't have any spare time as a classroom teacher. And in 2005, I was turning 50 that year. Hard to believe. I know I sound youthful, but I was turning 50. And I decided I was going to leave that life behind, that God had a different plan for me. I wanted to have more money, more time. I wanted to get involved with charities. And so I came on the Internet, and that's when I started blogging. Soon after, I started podcasting, and soon after, I started writing books. So those three things together launch you as an online entrepreneur.
Then how do you get, okay, real blunt question, and forgive me, but how do you make money out of all that?
It's a great question. It really is, because I work with people on 6 continents now, and sometimes they come to me after a year or two, and they're not making any money. And so my question to them is, what's for sale? Because someone has to purchase something in order for any of us to make money. So you want to sell something related to the type of business you're going into. So I'm teaching entrepreneurs. That means I'm selling my own courses, my own products. I'm recommending through an affiliate link other people's courses and products that will help them to do their business. So the first step is to have a hosted blog. So I can recommend Blog Host Solutions. That's my affiliate link for a company that offers you hosted blog services at about $70 a year.
Oh, okay.
That's it? 70
So
a
that's
year?
one way to get started.
Wow.
Yeah. So you could have your own blog, Doug.
Okay.
And
He
two-
could blog. He could actually blog, and we would read it.
Oh, thank you, Connie.
Well, we
So
being
how would you recommend somebody, Connie, just to get started? I mean, tomorrow, how do they just actually sit down and what do they do?
Get your blog up. Get it at your name, so by your name. So hopefully you have DougSutton.com. You own that domain?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of. All right, well, because in the beginning somebody had Connie Green, so I used my middle name, Connie Reagan Green.
Okay.
So what you do is you start writing, and you're finding your voice. And you're writing about what you're interested in and what you're passionate about. And if you do that for a few weeks, you will realize that you want to do things in a certain way. So I was a former classroom teacher. I wanted to teach people how they could get started. So I let people follow what I was doing and then began to teach them.
Interesting. Hey, Connie, how do people get in touch with you if they want more information on what you do?
The fastest way is go to conniegreen.com, and you'll see one of my main sites there and learn about me. I was just blogging this morning, actually, about that.
So I'm
No.
reading here you've actually have authored 10 books.
I have my 10th book is The Transformational Entrepreneur. It just came out in the middle of August, in the middle of October.
And folks, they're available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble?
Yes. If you go to your local bookstore, just give them my name and all my titles will pop up and say which one that you want to buy, and they'll get it within a couple of days, or you can order it online and get it also in a couple of days.
We're going to have to talk about all this because the book thing fascinates me. Do you self-publish?
I started my own publishing house. I started a company called Hunter's Moon Publishing about 3 years ago so that I could do it all in-house and have 100% control over it.
Wow.
Interesting.
Now that's fascinating.
So how many books have come out under Hunter Moon?
About 100 books.
Wow.
So, which isn't a lot. That's really not a lot over 3 years.
Right. But these are ebooks also, correct?
No.
Okay,
I
then
like the book to come out in
go-
paperback
You
first.
do? Bless
See,
you.
somebody
Print.
Print first,
Print
then
first.
Kindle.
There you go. You can
And then
always-
if you want to, you can have an ebook that's kind of related to what you're writing about, but it would be more of a product that you'd be selling.
fascinating.
Oh, I got you.
Fascinating.
Wow. Connie, we're out of time, but we really, really appreciate you coming on, and we have to have you on again.
I could talk to you for hours.
thank
I
I
could
think
talk
we're
to you
Thanks
for
for
hours.
having
just
me.
skimming
I
the
want to talk
surface
about
here.
physical products time. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. All right. That was Connie Reagan Green, and you can get her at conniegreen.com, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Connie. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure. All right. You've been listening to Gazette Radio with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Cruz hometown station. We'll be right back with sports.